Hey everyone, here is how I put together this little silk chiffon dress with these little silk satin ribbons. Now this is going to be a little bit different of a video. It's not going to be a full-on tutorial, but instead going over some highlights of the project and things I'm not so crazy about. And so kind of take it for what it is, and maybe you'll learn something along the way or get inspired or whatever. Hopefully it's beneficial in some way. And I'm also hoping that the cartoons in the background are not too distracting. The kiddos are watching some cartoons, which is how I'm doing through this voiceover. So I began with this teal colored silk chiffon, and I am beginning with the skirt. So I'm getting a clean edge on the side of the chiffon by clipping and ripping along the crosswise grain. Then I measure up and clip how long I want the skirt to be. Now chiffon doesn't rip on the lengthwise grain, so in order to keep things accurate, I'm going to pull a thread. If this seems like way overkill, you can get away with cutting your skirt on a rotary cutter and a straight edge if you have a big enough workspace to keep things accurate. It won't be as precise as pulling a thread, but it will get the job done. And I sew in a little bit of a shoebox, so I don't have enough workspace to keep things accurate, so instead I'm pulling a thread. That gap where the thread was now is my guide for cutting the top of my skirt out. I'm using the selvage edge of the fabric as the hem of my skirt, and I like to do this from time to time, particularly with pretty selvage edges. And any holes left over from producing the fabric will go away with a little TLC. You can move the fabric in between your thumb and index finger, and it should work itself out. So I had this whole idea of a ribbon design mixed with some beadwork around the top of the skirt, and I took this to the very small section of floor in my itsy bitsy sewing space, and it became a hot mess in a hurry. I couldn't keep the lines straight or anything accurate, so I had to scrap that design and think of another one. Instead, I figured it was best to stick with pulling the threads and sewing the ribbon along that tiny gap of those threads, since I can keep things accurate in my tiny shoebox of a sewing space. So I'm doing 3 rows of this silk satin ribbon. I spaced them 1.5 inches apart from each other, and as I mentioned, I'm pulling a thread at the top of where each of those ribbons is going to go. So in my case, at the 9-inch mark, the 10.5-inch mark, and the 12-inch mark. I'm not the best when it comes to pulling a thread out, so if your thread breaks along the way, just grab a pin and use it to pick that thread out from the fabric so you can grab a hold of it again and continue the pulling. No big deal. Trust me, I've done it lots of times. Once I have all my threads pulled out, then I line up the top of the ribbon with the gap left from the missing thread, and then I use the silk thread to sew the silk satin ribbon onto the silk chiffon. And I tell you what, this was so relaxing to hand stitch into place with all that silk. It was like sewing through butter. I just ran a small running stitch on top of the ribbon as well as the bottom of the ribbon. I made a silk charmeuse dress as a lining, and there you go. Like I said, it's not my favorite, but that's alright, and it wasn't my original design anyway. Sometimes that happens, that your resources aren't what you need, or maybe the design in your head is not coming together as well in reality, and things change. So designing and sewing is a journey, and you learn and grow along the way, and this design did inspire a flower girl dress that I am so close to being done with, so look out for that in the coming months. I am thrilled with that dress. I hope this video was helpful. If you have any questions, please leave them down in the comments below, and I will do my best to answer them. And as always, I appreciate y'all for watching, and I hope to catch y'all next time.